Here we are back in the shop. I left the shop door closed because it's just going to get too cold, I think. And I think this camera is actually fairly good with the audio, not picking up so much on the echoes. It's funny, I sit down and my mind goes blank, so I never write anything down. But just a quick note, I just received a very kind Christmas card in the mail with a experience written in it. I'm going to read it out. And that reminds me, a lot of people, a handful of people send me packages, and I haven't opened any yet. And, when people email me, just so you guys know, I don't encourage people to send me gifts, and I've been awkward with gifts for years, just the way it is, probably because of the way we were raised, right? Parents split up and brought monsters into our lives, and we were made to feel guilty and unworthy for a long time, and that included receiving any kind of gifts. So I guess it's probably those childhood scars or something, whatever it is, whatever. Just saying, gifts have always made me feel a little awkward. So when people email me and ask me for my mailing address, they don't tell me what it's for. I say, hey man, I need your address, I'm gonna send you something. So me doing what I'm doing and delivering to all of you, and who knows who it is or what it is they're about to send me. Are they about to send me an SD card, some photographs, some documents? I don't know. So I say, okay, here you go, here's my address, just make sure, here's my mailing address, just make sure it doesn't explode, right? So, on that note, for all of you very kind, generous people who have sent something to me in the form of a personal gift, I absolutely appreciate it. It's very kind, but I don't encourage it, right? But I will acknowledge you soon. I just haven't gone there and open up those parcels. There's not a whole pile of you guys. There's just a handful. But just letting you guys know, yes, stuff is making it here, and I haven't got to it yet, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I did have this envelope passed to me this morning, and I'm going to get into reading the contents here in a minute. What else? What have I done? Put a plug out there for Dave's new movie. Got that checked off. I had to go into the crazy mall yesterday in one of the larger cities in Vancouver Island and do the Christmas thing. It's kind of weird watching all the crazy shit going down. You just sit by yourself and have a coffee and take a breather and realize what kind of a shit show we've allowed things to get to, and things that we're missing, important messages that are getting overseen, not mentioned. Anyway, I'm trying not to babble. I had a couple coffees. I'm all over the map right now. I think I have to make a Rumble video really, really soon, because there's a handful of things I need to say out loud. And if I say them here, we're going to get absolutely deleted. But there's some things going on that need to be talked about. There's a lot of parents out there, men out there, who are fathers, who are acting like pussies when it comes to allowing their children to be blatantly groomed by some very evil, dark sons of bitches. And had a few things brought to my awareness lately, and it's coming to a head in my mind, and I need to pass on a message on the Rumble channel to all you men out there to quit acting like a frickin' pussy, act like a man, and protect your children. Do the right thing, and quit allowing the wrong thing to happen. I'll be pointing that out soon in Rumble. Yeah, I'm pissed off. Pissed. I'll tell you what, some of the things that are being stuffed into the faces of children. Stuffed into the faces of children, and somehow it's okay in society. I'm telling you right now, it's not okay. And if I had a small child who was in an elementary school, and that child is being exposed to, as an example, a grown man dressed as a hooker, a grown man dressed as a female stripper, and then also alluding to a compromised position with another man. You know what? Okay, I'm going to say this a little bit right now, just because I'm on fire. I do not give a shit what sexual preference you are. I don't care. The children are minors. The children can't watch certain movies until they're 17. The children can't drink until they're 21. The children can't drive a vehicle until they're 16 on average, right? Now, children, when they mature and gain wisdom and knowledge, figure out who they are, they have the they get to have be in the responsible position of making the appropriate choices for themselves. once they're old enough to fend for themselves and be a young adult. But when they're a child in, say, elementary school, no, we do not groom little children who need to be protected with, as an example, a man dressed as a hooker reading stories. A grown man dressed as a female stripper reading stories to them. And then also as well, alluding to adult men doing things to each other. Which, hey, those kids, if those kids want to dive into that world, if that's what they're drawn to later in life when they're an adult and they're old enough to make decisions for themselves, fucking have at it, man. I don't give a shit. I don't care what you do, as long as you're not harming anyone. But it's time, I would say, people need to draw a line. You men out there, you fathers, you man the fuck up and quit acting like a pussy. Are you kidding me? If I had a small child, say elementary school, and that was being exposed to my child, I'll guarantee you one thing. The people that made that decision and the people that were doing the exposing, I would make sure that they were terrified to do that in front of small children ever again. And I know many, many men who would have the same attitude. We're here to protect the children, protect the women, period. Protect the good people, period. That's what we're here for. All you men out there that are allowing this shit to go on, you are such an embarrassing example, pussy, loser, skidbag. There you go. I don't know if I'm going to put this in this video or not, but I'll tell you what. There you go. I'm going to make a Rumble video fairly shortly because I have a lot of shit that needs to be said out loud. And a lot of you men out there, I don't know if there's any men out there on this channel that are not playing their role of protecting the children. I kind of highly doubt it, but if you know somebody that is, show them the first 2 minutes of this video. All right, there we go. I got a little revved up there, but I'm revved up. I'm revved up at a lot of shit that's going on the planet today. I'm revved up. I'm just revved up. I got to bite my lip. Bite my lip for later. Let's get back on track. Let's hear some voices being heard. I had this lovely Christmas card sent to me and a 2-page letter, and it's handwritten, and I can read it easily. How rare is that? Now listen to this. Hi, Steve. I hope this letter finds you well. My name is Melissa, and I live in Wisconsin. I've been watching your YouTube videos, and I'm astounded by the thousands of stories regarding Sasquatch. Thank you for sharing the stories and validating we, the people, can join together and make a huge difference. Join together to get the facts that these beings are out there, to stop making the people who have had an encounter be silenced by fear of speaking out. I personally have not seen one, but had a very scary encounter similar to many stories you've shared. Maybe my spidey senses were on point, and we were being pushed out of the woods by something bipedal. It happened on public land near Millston, Wisconsin, USA, about 12 years ago. First, before I tell my story, I'd like to say, I'm not a girly girl. I grew up in the country, and I love fishing, hunting, hiking, horseback riding, ATV riding, camping, etc. I basically grew up outside and still enjoy many of these things today. With that in mind, here's my story. A friend and I were walking down Old Logging Road, now wide enough to walk down side by side. The area had grown up pretty thick over the years. At first, things seemed fine, and we were enjoying each other's company. About a half mile from the truck, I started feeling uneasy. I'd say around 10 minutes go by, and the feelings are worse. My gut was saying time to go. I stopped, looked around, told my friend, but I did not see anything. He brushed it off, and we kept walking to the lake. Never seen anything. He just wanted to forget the whole ordeal, never admitting he heard more whistles on the way out till weeks later. That was the last time I ever went to that area, and years before exploring on my own, we never went together fishing after that. Then I moved away. So that's my story. You can share my first name, but please don't share my last. I'd love to hear you share all your experiences. I'd love to hear you share all your experiences on one of your videos, and I'm sure others would too. God bless you and your family, Melissa. P.S. Please tell us everything you experience when you see them. It might make others share more. We need to know what to teach our children and educate ourselves before we become part of the missing 411. I agree. I was going to make sure I didn't read your last name in this. I didn't. All right, Melissa, I got you. Got your back. I'm so appreciative of you sending this, and I can't believe how well you hand wrote the letter in and enclosed it in this lovely Christmas card. Merry Christmas to you. Please be safe out there. And we appreciate you sending in your experience. And I would imagine somebody from the same area is chiming in and listening here too, I would imagine. Sharing everything I experience. I do believe that I share everything that I experience as I go along here, because most of the time I'm outside. You guys are with me now, right? I got a camera in my pocket. I've shared the majority of my initial high impact experiences earlier on, right away when I first came out public and said, yeah, I've seen the damn things. How many times I've seen them, physically seen them, twice for sure, and maybe 3 times. It's not like I haven't seen these things all the time. I've heard them. I don't know how many times. I found footprints probably 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times for sure I've found footprints, maybe more. It's been many years, right? My journey has been many, many years. So sometimes I just have to sit down and program my brain to only focus on those experiences and those memories, and then filter through all the tens of thousands of other outdoor experiences I've had. And then I'll want to go, oh yeah, that other time. Oh, here's another time. I just remember seeing tracks, a trackway on Duffy Lake. So there's 5 for tracks, right? I've had things thrown at me while making videos a few times. I've had odd things behind me in videos. I've had UFOs have been shown to us that people saw in my videos behind me. I've seen them behind me. So there you go. I don't know. I mean, could I compile everything and put it in a video? I guess I could. Would it make a difference? I don't know. I guess it'd be interesting for others, but we basically have experiences being shared every single day from everybody around the world, right? And again, I don't know why I probably don't need to say it that often, but it's not about me. This channel is not about me at all, although I will add to what I come across and see myself as well as everyone else. Like, we're all in here together. This channel is basically all of you guys now, right? It's all of us, which it should be, which all knowledge should be. But anyways, I'm babbling enough. Let's get on with some more. I'm going to read these. Are kind of recent. Oh, I've got a quick note. Earlier too is like when I'm road tripping, and I'm by myself. It's easier by myself to crack open my emails, and then I go through them all and I try to find stuff that I need to read, and I'll copy, paste it, put it in the notes. And sometimes I will crack open an email and then realize I have to get back to that right away because somebody needs something from me. And then I carry on. Big mistake. When I crack open an email, then it sits in my inbox as red, so it's not in bold anymore. And then days or even one day, and then I goes on one day after that, and then I go back in the inbox and there's dozens stacked on top, and then all of you little sleuths have found all the emails you can that would possibly get to me, and they're all flooded. So I have to go through like 4 different emails right up the bat under my domain name, not including Proton Mail, right? So it's easy for me to lose them. But this one email stuck out. I have to get this message out. Ex-law officer from Eastern U.S. who's going to be in Whistler, British Columbia soon, emailed me, asked me about some restaurants, and made a couple other details. You don't want me to share the email. Anyway, sir, to you. Hopefully you're listening to this. I opened up that email, kept it in the back of my mind, and then, of course, 2 days driving, blizzards, taking the boat home, Christmas shopping. I was sitting in the mall and I realized, oh shit, I gotta find that email and get back to you and answer you. I can't find the damn thing. I spent probably half an hour trying to find that one email yesterday. Can't find it. So to you, my ex-law enforcement officer who, quote, ran against that name you drop, and you want to know a couple restaurants, etc. send me an email again. All right? And it would be easy, but I need to send you an email back. Okay? So just send me an email again. They'll know it's you. Then I'll do the search in your name, find the original email, and then I'll get that reply to you. Okay? Whew. Tell you what, my life isn't your average one. Now, I had that marked as a note in here to get out, so let's get on with it. Here we go. This is titled, If This Helps Save One Child, It Was Worth It. Hi, Steve. My name is also Steve. My son and I watch every video you put up and love the content and how much you help the people in this shitty club we're in that no one asked to be in. I'm writing this email reaching out for help. With as many people as you can reach, it might help save some children and their parents from dealing with the tragedy of child suicide. Oh. In April, my 13-year-old son, Tristan, took his life at school in a bathroom stall. Oh, it sucks. So sorry to hear that. He was an amazing, huge kid. At 13, he was 6 foot tall and the nicest person, and most would say a character of a human being. He was obsessed with the Sabe, and more so because of our native blood we have in us. We are both Chippewa from the Sault tribe in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, S-A-U-L-T tribe. He would always watch the videos you posted over and over when a story was shared from where we live and try to figure out where the sightings were. He had many demons he was fighting from his mom's side of things, and nobody saw it coming. It would be great just to have you get this out there to the huge tribe you have assembled here, and maybe it will help other families look a little deeper if they suspect something. If it saves one child or adult from doing this, then it worked. We also do have a GoFundMe that I will share here, but that's not our main focus. We want more than anything to get the word out that our kids need us now more than ever, and that child suicide is a huge problem that needs to be brought to attention as much as possible. Any donations will be used in our school systems to do just that. If they need more counseling, we are going to provide it. We're starting small and plan to reach out as far as we possibly can. Tristan's tragedy has put me on a path in life I never expected to be on, but my boots are laced up tight, and I'm going to cover every inch of this new journey. Thanks again, Steve, for what you're doing, and keep doing cool shit, man. Steve Armati, Gwinn, Michigan. Got you, man. Got your back. I'm absolutely sorry to hear about your son. And we'll get this. I should remember to put this link in the video description below. If anybody wants to go help towards this cause, give her. And I will be too. And it's a very, very important message that obviously needs to be heard. Period. And it is a big problem. And there is, as far as I'm concerned, like I always say, I don't preach shit to anybody. I take from it what you will or leave it when it comes to every single one of us. But at least we get to be heard, right? And one thing I would like to say that for me, I am 100% convinced there is a war on humanity today. I am 110% convinced. And we need to start standing up and fighting. I don't give a there's no excuse not to. We need to start making a difference. Here's a man about to make a difference in one section that needs attention from all of us. All right? But there is a war against humanity right now, and like I said before, I mentioned this before, I guided a doctor, Christian Syrian doctor, grew up in Syria or Lebanon, Christian. And man, the shit he was telling me about growing up there. And he became he had 4 or 5 brothers and sisters. His dad made them all become doctors, and they all moved to North America. What he was telling me was, change comes with the children. Any change you need to have happen starts with the children. And he went on to explain that to me clearly, which I won't take out a lot of your time, but that is from what I've learned after he brought that fact to light to me years ago. It's true. Why do you think our children are being absolutely groomed and manipulated today, more blatant and heavier than probably ever in our past history? Because that's where the change is being made. Changes are being made that aren't for the better of society, period. So, and no doubt that's having a negative impact on a lot of children, right? Including this man's son, I would imagine. So, all you men out there, start playing your role. Quit being a pussy. stand up and fight back no matter how, well, you don't want to piss anybody off. No. You gotta turn that attitude around. You don't want to piss off the fathers and the mothers. The mothers are probably, ladies, huge respect for you all. There isn't a female in any species that isn't the most probable to kill. Okay, we get it. But I'm a man right now, and I like to encourage my fellow men to quit being a pussy and play their role of assisting to protect the children and to protect our women and their futures. There's so many people rolling over and being just low-life, spineless little pussies right now. It pisses me off. I got to bite my lip. I'm in one of those moods, obviously. But it's time. It's time. Hit the link below and help that cause and help that man kick some ass. Here we go. This is another one titled Boy Scout Bigfoot. Hello, Steve. My name's Logan. This encounter happened around 0406. Can't remember exactly which year, but I was a Boy Scout here in North Carolina, and our local troop went camping at Camp Grimes in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Our troop was made up of about 30 scouts and at least 7 Boy Scout leaders, one of which was very tall, and this will make sense to why I point that out further into the story. Can you imagine why? LOL. A bunch of the fathers of us boys attended as well. I was 10 or 12 years old, so the day we got there, we spent the whole day learning bushcraft basics and tying knots. You know, regular Boy Scout stuff. When the evening rolled around, a bunch of us boys wanted to play cops and robbers. And the Boy Scout leaders said we could do so, but stay close to the camp and always have a buddy with you at all times. So, half of us were the cops and the other half were the robbers. I was a robber. It was now dusk and a full moon was out, so we had plenty of moonlight to see. This area was moderately dense forest surrounding the camp. Me and my buddy went walking down a secluded trail when the game began, and after a while I started to feel like we ventured too far away from camp. It was just me and him, and for whatever reason, he decides to randomly take off running down the trail and left me behind. I was now alone and wondering why my buddies broke the rules and took off without me. Then all of a sudden, here comes my so-called buddy running back to the camp and saying he needs to go take a crap. So, as I was turning to run and catch up with him and go back with him, I see what I thought was the tall Boy Scout leader walk behind a big oak tree from the trail in the direction away from camp. This oak tree was a couple of feet off the trail. I turned around, fully confident it was someone playing with me. I walked straight up to the massive oak tree, not knowing who it was, and I say, "Hey, we're pretty far out here. I think we need to head back." There was no response. In the back of my mind, I was thinking this was the tall Boy Scout leader playing with me. So I peeked around the oak tree to see if it was possibly the tall Boy Scout leader, or maybe my dad out here messing with me. I quickly discover that it is not either of them. In the span of 3 to 4 seconds, here's what I discern. 4 feet away from me, I see a dark black figure that I first thought was a giant rock. Then my next momentary thought is, shit, black bear. Then I noticed its back is toward me. Then I noticed the broad shoulders, and it is squatting with its arms wrapped around its legs. It has long dark black hair, so now I'm like, what the hell is this? As soon as I think that, it stands up slowly and turns around. It was at least 8 feet tall. I instantly knew it wasn't a bear because it had giant broad shoulders with big arms and hands hanging down to its knees. Thick black hair, except for its face, and its head sitting atop its shoulders with seemingly no neck. Its hair was so black that it didn't shimmer in the moonlight. It wasn't so close. If it wasn't so close, it would have just been a deep, dark black silhouette. All of this and these thoughts rushing through my head took place within 10 seconds. Then the fear and dread set in. Before I could blink, I was sprinting back to the camp so hard, I was blacking out, and I said curse words that I had never said before that age. When I got back to camp about a quarter mile away, absolutely panting and shaking, they asked, "Are you okay? What happened?" I said, lying, because I knew they wouldn't believe me, I saw a black bear. They asked where, and I told them it was down the trail it came from. Later that night, I told my father the truth, and I don't think he believed me. He said I should stick with the bear story, but I know exactly what I saw. The memory of the encounter has remained with me all these years, clear as day. Whenever someone asks me over the years, what was the most weird or scary thing you have ever seen, I tell them this story, especially now that I'm older and I don't give a shit what people think. The dread that came over me was incredibly crippling mentally. I think this Sabe heard all of the commotion us boys were making and was curious to see what was going on. It could have easily grabbed me or outran me, especially since we were face to face. Or should I say, face to belly area of this massive being. Thanks, Steve, for all the hard work you do and getting all these stories out. It was very impressive. I came across your channel about a year ago, and after going down the missing 411 rabbit hole. Since this encounter, the only other experience I have had was hearing loud wood knocks while hunting here in North Carolina. Good luck hunting, Steve. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Logan H. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you too and your family, man. Thanks for sharing that. I had a quick thought, you guys, while reading this. And I've also had a handful of thoughts that I'm going to share on the Rumble channel because I'm getting close to the point now. I think I'm at the point where, not so much with this topic, but with many other topics, we have a shit pile of good, concerned people pointing out blatant facts, which are blatant facts of people, committing crimes against the people, blatant facts of people just being absolute criminals and they're in the wrong positions. And these are really good people who are doing this nonstop. They're doing online, they're doing Rumble, doing YouTube channels, and they're pointing out all the wrongs that are being done. And I get it. You don't have to point out a wrong to me too many times before my brain looks into it, picks up on it. But my brain goes to, let's do something. What's the remedy? What are we going to do about it? You know what I mean? Not too many people that are in the position of being messengers today are adding in or slowly going to the remedy. What are you going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? And it's frustrating me. It's like, okay, I'm topped up. I'm up to the nuts with blatant, easy to pick up, easy to look into yourself facts that were being misled and lied to and basically violated today. And it's time that we all started to come up with remedies. What are we going to do about it? And I have a feeling that once somebody, I don't know who it's going to be. If it could be me, I would try my hardest to do it, but I don't know. I'll figure something out. But some group of people has to start to come up with the remedy to solve all this shit, to put this shit back in the trash can where it belongs. And before I'm babbling. I'm babbling a little too much. I'm sorry. Getting back to the main point I was about to make, but on the same lines what I was about to describe, is a remedy. So one remedy, I think, when it comes to especially the Boy Scout thing, children going camping in groups, is if there's any of you out there who are involved in these clubs, organizations, maybe you should table this to the table of leaders, whatever you want to call them, and try to make it mandatory to have X amount of canines accompanying all groups of children, Boy Scouts, whoever it is, not just one canine, depending on how big the group is. This is what I would suggest. We need to make it mandatory that our children cannot go on camping excursions unless there's a canine there accompanying. That's what I would strongly suggest. That is one quick remedy that we can work on just on this small subject here. What's a big subject? But in the scheme of things, the grand scheme of things, I think that our children should not be able to go on group campouts in the forests anywhere unless there is a mandatory canine there accompanying them. And maybe, I don't know what the number should be. What is it? 1 canine per 5 children, possibly? I don't know. But I strongly believe that should be implemented in all of our Boy Scouts, all of our summer camps, church groups. I don't give a shit what the group is. If we have a group of our children going camping with 1 or 2 counselors or whatever you have, there better be a frickin' canine there, as far as I'm concerned. There you go. We have Sarah's nieces here right now. We have an early Christmas tomorrow with 3 kids because they have to go elsewhere on the 24th. So, but even it's broad daylight, sun shines out, the kids, her young niece goes outside, both the dogs are out there with her, period. And I have that drilled into her. You are not allowed to go play over there. You can't go play over there. There's all this area right here you can play, and the dog has to be out with you no matter what. Okay? She's like, okay, perfect. Anyway, I'm babbling. Think about that, you guys. If any of you are in contact with any groups who take our children camping in groups, you should possibly table the suggestion of mandatory canine presence. Period. There is no way in hell I would take a group of children into the woods camping without a canine. It's not going to happen. At least one. There we go. No title in this email. These are all recent, okay, guys? Recent in the inbox. Hello, Steve. Thanks for all that you do and the amazing platform to share experiences with everyone. My name is Wayne. You can use my name. I don't care what people think. Never did. LOL. Good for you, man. You're a free man, Wayne. You're a free man. I'm from Boston area and by no means an outdoorsman or hunter. I do enjoy the solitude of nature when I can, but it's not often enough. On to my quick share. I was visiting my friend in northwestern Montana in August of 2018. I went in a solo walk from his property down to nearby river a couple miles away. It was a gravel road, steep timber on both sides, so steep you'd have to basically crawl on all fours to get up in there. About halfway there, I heard a deep growl / grunt off to my right. I froze. It was so deep and powerful that I felt through my chest. I'm not gonna lie, I peed a little. I was never so scared in my life, and I've stared at the wrong end of a .357 Magnum in a case of mistaken identity with local police at 17 years old. I immediately thought grizzly, but zero movement, no additional sound, nothing, absolutely dead still. I got myself together and walked backwards slowly the remaining mile to the river. Later, when I finally got the courage to walk back up to the house, I told my friend what happened. I asked, "Grizzly?" He replied, "Yeah, something like that." Something didn't sit right with me, so I started researching bear calls, etc., the usual suspects, but nothing matched. I found a match recently which prompted me to share this. A guy in Northern Ontario has some audio recorded, and it's exactly what I heard / felt. I won't share his name or channel without his permission, but it's in the BF world. But not that jackass we all despise. Well, thanks again, Steve, for the effort and time it takes for you to keep sharing knowledge with everyone. Okay, man. Appreciate you. And Montana. There's no shortage of Montana. No shortage. Another growl, another grunt, and more terror. Said about 100,000 other people. Okay, here's another title, 30-Year Logger. Hi, Steve. Been listening for a while now, and it's time I tell my experiences. I've logged in southeast Missouri for 30 years until I became disabled. I suffered 4 heat strokes one summer, and that finished me. I suffered some brain damage, the beginning of my nightmares. No shit, that sucks. I fought Social Security for over 2 years to get a fraction of what I was used to making. My health has gone down the gutter. I used to pack a 660 still, a gallon of mix, and a gallon of oil a few miles a day. Now I can't even walk across a parking lot. Can't stand the sun for long, so I'm a night owl. Something happened in my brain that now I'm a magnet to these forest people. For the first 3 years, they seemed kind of nice to me. I was always aware of them from logging. They pretty much left me alone. One time they did throw a club at me and got me in the hard hat. It broke my collarbone, and I had to have my shoulder reconstructed. No shit. It took me years to realize that is what happened to me. I had the skidder push a tree over for me that wanted to go backwards. I was in a safe place and nowhere where I should have been hit. Last week on that job, I took a couple days off and finished it, then went to the hospital. My boss was a slave driver, but I made good money. This last year, I've been seeing red orbs everywhere. All I do anymore is fish at night, mostly jugfish for catfish and crappie fish. While the jugs are out, I've got the lake to myself every night after midnight. With my condition, I talk to myself all the time. I think that has a lot to do with them watching me. I also used cut shad for bait on the jugs. So my boat has a pretty good smell to it also, no doubt. One night I knew I was being watched. When I looked around, I saw a 12-foot and an 8-foot down on the bank about 100 yards from me, staring at me. Why I did it, I don't know, but I wanted a video of them. I got my phone out, and it started messing up and flashing every second. I couldn't get it to stop. When I looked up, the big one's eyes were glowing red, and he was backing up the bank. When I got the phone working, he was gone. The 8-foot was back in the trees, but I got it walking back and forth. I wish I never did that. I showed it to a few people, and they still didn't believe me. Then one day, it disappeared off my phone with the other pictures I had of structures and footprints. Don't know what happened. The start of being scared on the lake. This is sounding pretty interesting. Now when I go fishing, they run me out of my spots. I lost 2 big fish and was being loud when I ran into a cove after a jug that had a good one on it. I saw a flash that I thought was a deer. Then I saw a red orb, and a second later that 12-foot with a club in his hand, more like a tree. I got one word put into my head. Excuse me. I got one word put into my head: trespass. I said I was sorry and I was leaving now. I left my jugs and got out of there fast. I couldn't get the boat on the trailer fast enough. I went back around 8 the next morning to get my jugs, and 5 of them were balled up hooks missing, and swivels broke up on the bank. I was nervous just getting them, but I got them. I did end up catching 6. I haven't let them stop me yet. I apologize when I shine their eyes. In November, during deer season, I hunted a cove on the lake that I thought didn't have any. It was snowing when I pulled in, and the first thing I see is a red orb going through the trees. I said, no, no, no. I pulled in a little creek and tied up the boat. I was hunting 10 yards from it. I sat in my chair, and three coyotes came sneaking by. They got out in front of me when I heard the first tree knock about 150 yards behind me. They ran out of there so fast they were a blur. Then the second knock, about 100 yards to my right. I was saying, leave me alone. Then the third knock, about 200 yards to my left. I had an AR-15, not big enough. I said I need a deer for my family. Then you won't see me for a year. I looked at the ground and prayed, and I hoped it would work. The Bible tells us to fear nothing. They still scare me. At 1 o'clock, a 7-point came trotting by, and the deer season was over. Thankfully, it only went 10 yards, and I was up and gutting it before I should have. The snow made it easy to drag, and I had it in the boat fast. I told them thanks and got the hell out of there. My last encounter, my daughter and I was fishing at the boat ramp at the campground December 8th. She was catching on every cast. I was going to go to the restroom up the hill from us when one growled at us. She freaked out and said, "What was that?" I told her it was a deer. Now let's go somewhere else. She agreed. It doesn't matter where I go, they are there. People don't believe me when I tell them how many I've seen and how many I've been around. I wish I never saw the first one. At first I thought they might be able to fix my brain. That was a big mistake. I hope I'm not a 411 one of these days. I stopped carrying my 1911 because it ain't big enough. I don't think you can carry what you would need by yourself to survive. They are never alone. They're supernatural. I've seen them move at speeds that's incredible. They can disappear and reappear across a cove. I've seen some that are very human looking, just hairy. Longer hair on their arms and legs. Some look like they have Down syndrome. Like I said, I logged for 30 years, and I've heard way too many trees fall over in the woods to be natural. My name is Tom Whitehead, and I swear what I say is the truth. There's a lot more of these people out there than anyone knows. No doubt. Your closing paragraph there, I would wonder if possibly you ever seen one of those trees that you heard get pushed over. I think I mentioned that earlier. Has anybody ever gone out and found the huge tree that they heard clearly get pushed over and hit the ground near them? I'm curious of that. But anyway, I'm glad you found the channel, man. And Nobody's laughing at you here, I can assure you that much. It's unfortunate what happened to your health. That sucks. I couldn't imagine that happening to me. But I'm glad you're still out there making the best of it, right? And if you've got anything that the people can benefit from, that you find out, share it and get it to me, and I'll share it with the people. All right, man? It's titled Red Light in the Sky. I better mark that as red. Hello, Steve. I've been following you for quite a while now. I love what you're doing for people who have felt so secluded for so long. My name is Tom, and I had an experience. My grandfather had just passed away. This is in the early 90s. My mother and I had just pulled out of my grandparents' driveway and headed south down a country road. My grandparents had a farm that looked above a lake here in Wisconsin. As we headed up the road, a giant red light seemed to engulf our vehicle. It was an Oldsmobile Delta 88. I say that because I remember everything from that night. As the light engulfed my mother and me, I felt calm. And here's the scary part. I didn't remember this happening for almost 30 years. I suddenly started having horrible nightmares. I am still close to my mother, and I asked her if she remembered that red light night. And she said yes, and that she didn't want to talk about it. I said, do you remember it coming down to the hood of the car? And she said yes. I should just leave it alone there's a typo. And that I should just leave it alone and pray. Steve, I know this isn't Sabbath related, but I'm extremely frustrated. I can elaborate on the dreams I'm having if you respond. I love what you're doing for people who've had strange experiences. Take care, your friend from Wisconsin. Okay, and then we got another email attached below, titled The Red Light in the Sky Continues. Hello, Steve. I feel I left out details that was weird. That SD card just said full. Never had that happen before. All right. Hello, Steve. I felt I left out details that people may attack my story with. My mother and I were just visiting my grandmother and spending time with her as she had just lost my grandfather. When we left and the red light happened, we lost almost an hour and a half. To my mother and I, it seemed normal, but we lost almost 2 hours. I'm now having nightmares of things being done to me. I try to talk to her about it, and I'm getting frustrated because she says she remembers that night, but just wants to leave it alone. Take care, Steve. I hope you respond. Okay, man, gotcha. If you could, email Dave Plaitis. All right? Email Dave Plaitis with your experience. I'm sure he'd want to hear from you. All right? I think he's been cracking some doors open in that department. I haven't. All I'm doing is sharing your voices, all right? I do not have time to accumulate abduction encounters and dig and find answers. I just don't myself, but I know Dave does. So email him, okay, man? And I hope, and whatever you come up with, if you learn anything, share it with us. And I wonder if maybe even possible go have some x-rays done, see if there's anything implanted in your body. That might be an idea too. Isn't it crazy the shit that's going on, the shit we have to talk about, and it's sad that the shit we have to talk about, the majority of society laughs at. That's frustrating too, right? Enough's enough. This is enough of the bullshit already. We have to get life going smooth and steered towards every soul having a fair crack at having the best, most awesome experience they can while they're here, not the opposite, right? And it all is going to start with honesty. Now, this is titled, Is This a Dogman? Hello, Steve. I stumbled upon this photo that I thought was interesting of what was supposedly captured on a trail cam or motion sensor camera. I don't know enough about CGI or how to tell if this picture is real or fake. If it's fake, it seems pretty well done in my opinion. Obviously, you can see that the legs are like that of a human, but now notice how the shoulders are facing forward, not sticking out to the sides the way humans do, even when crouching down or crawling. The bone structure in the shoulders and chest look more like a canine than a human. If you get this email and if you have time, maybe you can put it up at the end of the video to see if someone can tell if it's a real photo. I can't remember if the Dogman witnesses have described this detail about the shoulders facing forward like this. No idea where this was taken or by whom. You can share my name, Michelle Furch. P.S. Our prayers are with you, Steve, and Dave, Scott, and Edgar, the First Nation superheroes, and all the wonderful and brave souls who are willing to share the stories. Thank you, H2TH family, and everyone. Be safe out there. All right, so for me, looking at that right now, the IR flash is much brighter on the branches on the left than they are on the being depicted in this photograph. Are those human-looking front legs? Not to me, they aren't. The canines flare out at the top. I've never seen that in a wolf in my life. Does the face look like a wolf? Yes. Does it look humanish to me? I don't know, man. I mean, you know what? I don't know nothing about these Dogman things. Could that be what I'm looking at? Maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think? I haven't a clue. But the one thing that stands out right off the bat is there is a shadow being cast behind from the IR flash on the trees. The IR flash on the being is definitely a different brightness than what's on the trees. So it's leading me to think this might not be authentic. However, maybe it is. And that's the shitty thing about photographs and videos, right, you guys? Look at the Patterson footage. That's 110% a real non-human being. And look at the shit that's been thrown at it. The society, the majority of society just goes, oh, it's man. Oh, a guy said that he, in his deathbed, that he wore a suit with a zipper. Anyways, that's an interesting photo. I haven't seen this before. What would I do if I ran into that in the woods myself? If something that looked like this was standing there staring me down, eyeball to eyeball with confidence, it's game on time. Because in the natural world, that is body language for we're going to get it on. It's either body language for, can I eat you? I wonder how hard it'd be for me to take you down, right? As it's looking at me, squared up with confidence, trying to make that decision. Whereas probably 99% of wolves, most predators, when they see a human being, they take a look at you. Oh yeah, that's a human being. I'm out of here. They're gone. And that's what I got to say on that one. Hopefully I remember to stick that photo in the video. My fingers are almost numb. It's probably time for me to get ripping. Thanks for sending that in. Appreciate your kind words. This is titled Family Experiences. Season's greetings to you and your family. Hi, Steve. Because these happenings include various members of my family, friends, and neighbors, I won't be using their name. My name is Vince. You can use my name. I'll try my best to use the correct punctuation, etc. My family and extended family has numerous unusual occurrences over a 50-year period thus far. I'll start with the story of my father and uncle. My dad related their hunting experience. We lived north of Edmonton on a farm. Okay, I'm going to be familiar with that country. This hunting experience took place north of Swan Hills. The terrain is rolling hills, muskeg swamp. The spruce trees are so thick, one has to turn sideways to walk through. Yeah, picture taking a pack train of horses through that shit. Ugh. The terrain is rolling. The spruce tree, sorry you guys. Mind you, a bull moose might just tilt its head back and makes its own path. Yes, they do. Anyways, most of their hunting was on horseback riding, the oil cut lines. They camped at a junction point of a number of cut lines. The first day went well. Horses were out grazing nearby. They made a campfire that evening. As darkness closed in, the horses became restless. Now, the Swan Hills was known for having record-sized grizzly in the area, so to be on the safe side, they thought to put the two horses in the back of the 3-ton truck. They should be safe from any predators there. They kept up being uneasy for a time. Dad bedded down in the back of the station wagon, and his brother-in-law slept on the seat of the 3-ton truck. Around midnight, everything went to hell in a handbasket. The horses started to scream and kick. The truck listed to the passenger side. The stock rails were heard cracking. The top of the racks were about 10 feet above the ground. The horses were about 3 feet above the ground on the deck of the truck. Dad said he looked over to the truck and saw a large, what he thought to be an arm, reach over the top of the stock rack. At that point, my uncle started the truck and turned the lights on and made a mad dash back from where they came from. Sorry, what? At that point, my uncle started the truck and turned the lights on and made a mad dash back from where they came from. Dad was right behind him. They stopped in the hamlet of Swan Hills to check the horses. They calmed down, but one horse was missing a 4 to 6 inch chunk of mane. From that point, they never ventured back to that area. The Barhead area back in the 60s had what I will call an outbreak of UFO sightings. As a teenager, I saw on 2 different occasions a red orb. I had to be at least a half a mile to a mile away at the back end of our pasture. I would go down below the tree line and then come an inch or two above the... I would go down below the tree line and then come an inch or two above the tree line. It did this for an hour and a half. Okay, I guess it meant it would do it. A few typos, no biggie, we got it. My mother's encounter was much closer. And the results were seen over 2 days. My mother and a neighbor later were on their way home from Edmonton. It was very late in the evening, clear sky. As my mom was driving, the car started to what was making a whirling noise. There's some typos. As my mom was driving, the car started to hear what was making a whirling noise, which continued as they pulled up to the neighbors. Mom's made a quick goodbye and headed home, which was about 3 miles away. As she made the first corner, it was as if moon had been turned on and plus. She said the haystacks were as clear and the cattle could be clearly seen grazing. All right, so I'm imagining the sky went bright everywhere. Off to her right and just over the car was a circular object running parallel to her direction of travel. It was very large, 60 feet in diameter and maybe 500 feet above. Again, she made a right-hand turn and kept it running beside her. And it kept running beside her. And again, another right-hand turn up our long driveway. She said she was in awe, more in awe than in terror. She ran into the house, woke up Dad, and they viewed it out the picture window. At that time, the phone rang. It was Mom's friend checking up on her to make sure she got home okay, as she watched the disc follow her home. Oh my God, that would be crazy to see that. That's not the end of the story, though. The next morning, that same neighbor phoned and insisted we come over to her house. We got there and she led us to the edge of her wheat field. She asked if we'd seen anything strange. At first we said no. She said, "Where's my granary?" In those days, grain was stored in wooden square buildings that were mounted on skids, usually 12 foot by 12 foot 8. The granary was in the midst of the wheat field. As we got there, it had been moved a quarter mile to the far end of the field. The thing was, there was no tracks anywhere, as we could clearly see where we had walked through the grain. Not a blade or a head of grain had been broken. This surrounded the structure. We approached the structure where it now sat. On the front step, a pop bottle was still sitting upright, and inside a short ladder that had been set between the rafters was balanced, and with a touch it fell to the floor. Well, we were not the only people who have these encounters. Most people had stories. It was a common sight to see Air Force helicopters, planes, and jets fly over. Many in the area were interviewed by military officers. The Edmonton Journal wrote a number of sightings. I will write one more happening I had for now. 1990 or thereabouts. The mining company I worked for laid us off because of a poor market. I was a certified millwright. It came to me that a new gold mine needed temporary help to reconstruct a process plant that had been blown down in a hurricane-force winds, so I took a working holiday. So, flew to Terrace, BC, and bussed up to Stewart, BC. From there, I was flown to the old Grand Duck Mine, GRAN, capital D-U-C mine. From there, the helicopter started to climb the Barrendon Glacier. At the top of the glacier, the helicopter landed at the mine site. This was in early April, so not much of the mine site could not be seen, as it was under 17 feet of snow, just a few trails that had been carved out by a cat. One morning at breakfast, one of the crew came in and said we had to come out and see what he had found. So 6 or 8 of us went outside through the snow tunnel from the bunkhouse. That night, it had snowed a good foot, and there's a freshly made trail of huge footprints. They were 14 inches and 8 inches or so wide, all as a person might walk. I was quite captivated by what I was seeing and was hoping to see what made them. I asked around to see if anyone had binoculars. I found a pair. As I scanned the area about 500 yards out, they just disappeared, being way above the tree line, and there was just cliff and snow. So I thought I would see where they came from. So I went to the other side of the property following the prints, looking down the backside towards Wrangell, Alaska. The prints came out of nowhere on the snow-covered slope. That's about it for now, Steve. Seems that this family has many odd things happen over the years and generations. I'll share again. Hope you have a great Christmas season with your family and friends, Vince. Vince, I hope you share more too, man. It sounds interesting as all can be. And again, the track line footprints have been seen coming from nowhere and then disappearing on snow. Go figure. What's up with that? All those coward-ass sons of bitches in the previous so-called Bigfoot Sasquatch world community who ignore those multiple experiences of people seeing that shit, and they ignored them, stuffed it under the carpet and hid it, and suppressed their voices, right? Cowards. Anyway, I guess I better go. I'm in one of those moods today. And thanks again for sending that email, man. There's a couple of typos in there, but hey, no big deal. And no, I don't need you to email me and apologize for it. It's all good. It just goes with the turf. I do typos all the time myself. We all do. No big deal, but we got the story. We picked up what you're putting down. The UFO thing's getting to the point where it's another topic too where I'm frustrated. It's like, okay, strange lights were seen over the state of such and such. Strange lights were reported here. Strange lights were there. A craft was seen here. We videotaped crafts. Okay, I'm over it. I don't need to hear that part anymore. What are they? Who are they? Who are these people? Who are these beings that are responsible for this? What are they doing? Right? What's up? Enough of those sighting reports. What's going on? Who's got the answers? Who's going to tell us the truth? Anyway. Keep emailing us the truth, everyone. Keep emailing us the truth. You do it through me, do it somewhere, but just keep the truth flowing out loud. And somebody laughs at you, kick them to the curb. Just kick them to the curb. People that laugh, they're scared, and they are definitely not going to be of any value to society, are they? Unless they're picking up garbage for us in the streets or something. I shouldn't say that. All right, I'll be back shortly. Everybody's having an early Christmas. Hope it's a happy and safe one. And hopefully when I come back next time, I'll be in a little more of a cheerful mood. Later.
See what the hell we're doing. Slide right up. Is that the one we
That'll take a while. And this is how you come down.